The phone buzzed on his nightstand at 11:47 p.m., lighting up the dark room with a single message request. It was from his neighbor. Attached was a private photo. Below it, just 6 words that made his chest tighten. "Do you think it's beautiful?" His finger hovered over the screen, unsure why this moment suddenly felt heavier than it should. If stories about quiet moments that change lives speak to you, this is exactly what Kindness Tales is about. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Tap like if this story touches you, and share your thoughts in the comments as we go along. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness start in the most unexpected ways. He lived alone in a modest apartment on the edge of a quiet American suburb, the kind of place where porch lights glowed softly at night and most neighbors knew each other only by a polite wave. At 38, his life had settled into routines that felt safe but narrow. He worked as a data analyst for a regional logistics company, spent his days staring at screens, and his evenings cooking simple meals and watching old movies. After a difficult divorce 3 years earlier, he had learned to keep his world small, predictable, quiet, protected. The woman next door had moved in about 6 months earlier. He noticed her the first day because she struggled to carry a large cardboard box up the stairs, her arms shaking slightly as she tried to keep it balanced. He offered help, and she smiled with relief that seemed almost excessive for such a simple gesture. She was in her early 40s, with soft features and tired eyes that hinted at stories she didn't rush to tell. They exchanged names, laughed awkwardly, and that was that. Their interactions remained brief but warm. A nod in the hallway, a quick comment about the weather. Once when his car wouldn't start on a cold morning, she waited with him until roadside assistance arrived, handing him a paper cup of coffee she had poured from her thermos. He remembered thinking how rare it was to feel genuinely seen in moments like that. He also noticed little things about her routines. She worked odd hours, often leaving late at night and returning early in the morning. Sometimes he heard faint music through the wall, gentle piano melodies that seemed to drift rather than intrude. Other times, the apartment was silent for days, as if no one was home at all. They exchanged phone numbers after a building notice about plumbing repairs, more for practicality than anything else. Their text conversation stayed light and infrequent. A reminder about trash pickup, a shared joke about the broken elevator. Nothing personal, nothing deep. So when his phone buzzed close to midnight with her name on the screen, his first thought was concern. Maybe something was wrong. Maybe she needed help. He opened the message. The photo filled his screen slowly, as if it wanted to be absorbed rather than glanced at. It was a painting. A woman stood in the middle of a vast, open field under a sky painted in deep blues and purples. Her dress flowed as if caught by a breeze, and her face was turned slightly upward, eyes closed, as though she were listening to something only she could hear. The brushstrokes were gentle but confident, the colors layered with care. There was sadness in it but also strength, loneliness but also hope. Below the image was her message. "Do you think it's beautiful?" He stared at the painting longer than he meant to. Something about it felt intimate, vulnerable in a way that surprised him. This wasn't a casual photo. This was something personal. Something offered carefully. His mind raced with questions. Why was she sending this to him? Why now? And why did it feel like the wrong answer could matter more than he realized? He thought about replying with something polite and safe. "It's nice. Looks good." But his fingers wouldn't move. The painting deserved more than a passing compliment. And perhaps so did she. He typed slowly, choosing each word with care. "I think it's very beautiful. It feels honest. Like it came from somewhere real." The response came almost immediately. "Thank you. I wasn't sure if anyone else would see it the way I do." That simple sentence opened a door he hadn't expected. He asked if she painted often. She admitted she used to, years ago before life got complicated. The painting, she explained, was her first one in nearly a decade. She had finished it that night and suddenly felt overwhelmed with doubt. Sending it to him had been impulsive, driven by a strange sense that he might be honest without being cruel. As the conversation unfolded, the hour grew later without either of them noticing. She shared that she had once dreamed of being an artist, But responsibilities and losses had slowly pushed that dream aside. He shared that he used to write short stories, something he hadn't done since his marriage ended. They laughed at the coincidence of two people living wall to wall, each quietly setting aside parts of themselves they loved. Over the next few weeks, their connection deepened in small, gentle ways. Sometimes she would text him photos of works in progress, asking what he felt when he looked at them. He never critiqued technique. He told her how the colors made him feel calm, or how a certain figure reminded him of resilience. Other times, he would send her a paragraph he had written late at night, unsure if it was any good. She responded with encouragement that felt sincere and thoughtful. They began meeting in the hallway more often, conversations stretching longer than before. One evening, she invited him over for tea. Her apartment was modest but warm, the walls dotted with sketches and half-finished canvases. The piano music he had heard turned out to be recordings she played while painting, filling the space with comfort. She told him about the years she spent caring for her mother through a long illness, how art became a luxury she couldn't afford emotionally. When her mother passed away, the silence left behind was so loud that she stopped painting altogether. Creating again felt like reopening a wound she wasn't sure had healed. He listened, really listened, in a way he hadn't done for anyone in a long time. In return, he spoke about his divorce, the slow erosion of communication, and how he learned to keep his feelings contained to avoid disappointment. Talking to her felt different, easier, like sitting down after a long walk. Their bond was rooted not in grand gestures, but in steady presence. When she doubted herself, he reminded her of the strength he saw in her work. When he retreated into old habits of isolation, she nudged him gently back into the world with a text asking if he wanted to take a walk or share leftovers she had cooked too much of. One night, months after that first photo, she knocked on his door holding a small wrapped canvas. Her hands trembled slightly as she explained that she had painted something for him. He unwrapped it slowly, revealing a scene of a man sitting by a window at dusk, light spilling across the floor, a notebook open on his lap. The expression on the figure's face was peaceful, almost hopeful. She told him that seeing herself through his words had helped her see beauty in her own work again, and that she wanted to give something back, a reminder that his kindness had mattered more than he knew. The painting found a place on his wall where he saw it every morning. It became a quiet reminder of how one honest response, one moment of compassion, could ripple outward in ways you never anticipate. Their relationship didn't follow a dramatic arc. It didn't need to. It grew like a steady flame, built on trust, shared vulnerability, and the courage to show unfinished parts of themselves. They supported each other's creative journeys, celebrating progress without pressure. Years later, he would think back to that late-night message and marvel at how close he came to answering without thought, how easily the moment could have passed. Instead, he chose sincerity, and in doing so, he helped someone reclaim a piece of themselves, while rediscovering his own. Kindness doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it's a question asked softly, a photo sent in the dark, a chance to respond with care instead of convenience. That single act can change the way someone sees themselves, and in the process, change you too.